Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Etech Leadership Table. This is a podcast where we invite you to pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, and join us as we tackle some remarkable discussions on everything leadership. I'm Melissa Wood. I'm your host. I'm the Dean of Leadership Development at Etech Global Services. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Etech Leadership Table. This is a podcast for leaders by leaders, right? Where we just sit around the table, share a cup of coffee or whatever you're drinking. Just pull up to the table like we used to do as a family, like we are family. Invite guests to the table and just have some discussions. Today, hot topic discussion is with our very own Shaun Marshall. Hey, Shaun, welcome to the Etech Leadership Table.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to having a fun session and hopefully providing value to the viewers as we kind of move along.
Hey, we're going to have a great time. So if you're out there, our podcast world, go ahead and grab what you're going to drink, pull up to the table, because this is not a conversation you want to miss, because everyone needs help. Even Melissa, even Shaun, even your best friend that you know you're going to send this link to. We are running into the holiday season, and so everybody, I know I've got your ears tickling out there like, what are we talking about, Melissa? What are we talking about? This topic is going to help you to sit around the table with your family these holiday seasons. This topic that Shaun's going to walk us through is going to help you finish the year strong with everybody stressed out in your job, right? It's going to help you to navigate those crucial conversations, if you will. So the topic today, drum roll. You have an IQ, which is your intelligence level, right? And from what I understand, that really is what it is. Okay, that's what's given to you. But good news today is we're talking about your EQ. So if you're taking notes, and great leaders take great notes, we're talking about your emotional intelligence, the skills that you need to talk to anybody. Do you hear me? To communicate with anybody. And Shaun Marshall, he runs his own company for leadership. We'll have all his links below, but Shaun's at the table with us. He can help you when you're stuck on the road. He has a roadside assistance, and he can help you when you're stuck in leadership. But his passion, his heart of gold is to help with leadership. So welcome, podcasters, and welcome, Shaun, on this very crucial topic of emotional intelligence.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity and the time, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Hey, let's do this. Hey, I asked Shaun what you guys didn't see. We need to show the intro later, but what you didn't know is I said, Shaun, what's your purpose? Like, what are you trying to do? And he said, look, Melissa, I just want to add value to leaders. And my gosh, when we pull up to the table, if we've got somebody with a experience that Shaun has that wants to add value to you, you better pull up and get this rocking and rolling. Now, I've already asked Shaun what he's drinking. He said he's drinking the good old OJ, orange juice. He's drinking some orange juice, so that's good to know. And I'm drinking, you're not going to believe this, Shaun. I've already told you what I had for breakfast, which is so pitiful. And podcasters, if you want to know, you'll have to contact me. But I'm drinking Santa's Blend tea. Straight out of New York, Santa's Blend. It's got a little bit of Christmas in a cup. So
yes.
If you're Christmas in a cup. All right, we're pulled up to the table. Podcasters, we're here. We're about to dive into this very important emotional intelligence subject, EQ. Tell us, Shaun, why is EQ so critical for leaders?
So I can't stress this enough, and this is an area that I know I struggle mightily in, and my antennas went up when Amisha, said that these were going to be the topics. When the emotions are high, right? Yeah. And they run wild, and you're in the midst of a crucial conversation, how you interact and react is going to define not only the trust, your reputation, your character, the decision making. It impacts so much of your professional lives that it can also matriculate into your personal lives. You have to understand, the time and the place, and basically have sound steps on what you need to do in those moments for you to be great. You do not become great by doing these great things, right? It's an accumulation of consistency over time that will get you to being great. So how you interact and react in those moments will define you and how well you're going to be at leadership.
As we're getting our tools, I love that you're going to give us, I go back to you saying, I just want to help. And this is really foundational of what you've explained of why it's important. And let's just dive into it. You said you have 3 tips. 1, 2, 3. Are you ready? He's going to give us 3 tips on how we can cultivate our emotional intelligence. Let's do it. Give us the top number 1.
So first, there's two critical parts. One is going to be physical toughness, and the second is going to be mental toughness, right? So a lot of times people work on, we would do cardio, we lift weights, we do all these things to kind of strengthen our physical skills, right? So we know that the bulk of what we put into is going to be kind of in the appearance, right? And so that's going to measure what you're capable of doing, right? In those moments, if you have to do something, you're going to have that physical capacity, you're going to be present, you're in the moment, you're there, you're at the table, right? So you have that part already there. Most leaders already have that particular piece kind of, buckled down. The second part is mental toughness, right? And we don't focus a lot on that particular area, but mental toughness will measure if you're going to do what you say you're going to do, right? And, that people will tell you, under promise, over deliver. Well, at the end of the day, it's delivery. You have to deliver, regardless of what the goals or your KPIs or what your company is measuring. For you to have a positive ROI, I can tell you that you have to deliver on a day in, day out basis. All right. So from a standpoint of that and kind of taking that into an emotional intelligence standpoint, right, you have to prepare yourself for those moments, right? You have to understand critically what the importance, of those conversations are, right? If you're talking to a team member, right, it's situational. That conversation may be different if you're talking to a director or a VP, depending on what it is. You have to know and understand the magnitude of the moment and make sure that you're physically there and that you're mentally there, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is preparation. Have to be prepared. Melissa, you said it earlier. Good leaders take notes, right? Yep. Good leaders also research. They know exactly what they want to talk about. They know who's going to be in the audience, all right? They can anticipate the questions they're going to get. You know what your CIO is looking for when you're doing a project. You know what your HR leaders are looking for when you're doing a project. What is it going to impact the people? Is there pay, right? What kind of technology? How do we implement? When you research and know your audience, you're going to be able to critically break down any of the questions they have beforehand, and you can speak more fluently on those areas so that you can have a better outcome. And I can't stress this enough. The last, and I think I said it earlier, is one, make sure you have 100% responsibility, all right? If someone comes to you in a tone or a manner that's untoward and you give it right back to them, what did you really solve? All right. Yeah. You're responsible. And this is one of the things that I used to struggle in this area mightily. In our company, when I was with G6 Hospitality, they went into this 100% responsibility, and it really resonated. All right. I can determine how I react. I can determine how I interact, right? If I'm present in the moment with those people and I'm having conversations and it becomes a little more passionate than what it needs to be, I can I make a decision, Melissa. Do I want to douse water on a fire, or do I want to throw gasoline on the fire? Do you want to ignite it, or do you want to, let's get this back to smoke so that we can have, a little more clarity and understand those needs. That's the most important thing when we talk about emotional intelligence, is one, making sure you're self-aware, that you can reflect, and that you are cognizant of when you're getting to that point, managing those particular emotions so that you don't say and or do something that you're going to regret and have to have further conversations later to, either backtrack or apologize for your part in that particular moment.
Oh, wow. I didn't tell everybody, but you got Muhammad Ali back there on your wall. And I just think you just 1, 2, 3 punch. You just give us a 1, 2, 3 punch. I think you just gave us a 1, 2, 3 punch. I'm going to take it from number 3, kind of working the way up. So 100% responsibility. I've never heard that. I mean, I know that, right? We all kind of know we're responsible, but the mindset of no, ma'am, no, sir, no, you have 100% responsibility. I think that is very clear. You said I can determine how I'm gonna react. I've learned that there's a difference with these two things: react versus respond.
Yes.
And Shaun, when you say 100% responsibility, that lets me know that I'm going to be responding and not react. Or if I do react with my mouth overloads, that I know that's what I did. I chose to just react, because sometimes we do that. We choose to just react.
Absolutely.
We were talking about, we're both in Texas now, but, we've both lived in Ohio. We talk about the traffic, in Texas. We see a lot of reacting and not responding.
Oh, yes, every day.
I guess our podcasters, it doesn't matter what state you're in. Shaun and I have been all over. We see a lot of reacting. So even in your driving, you take 100% responsibility. When you go to spend time I love this mindset. When you go to spend time with your family, you're taking 100% responsibility on your reaction or your response. I think that's really great. All right. So if you have that mindset when you go to sit at any table, at your leadership table, at your family table, 100% responsibility. Shaun, would that change some of your family dynamics if you did that at your table?
Let me tell you, it changes 100% of my family dynamic. And again, listen, I said I struggled mightily in this. So in those moments, I can tell you that I was definitely reacting in a manner that was not conducive to what we wanted from it. Right. But, I started listening to understand their perspective. Right. Because again, I know what my perspective is. I know what I want to get across. But guess what? When you're by yourself, you can say or do whatever you want. When there's two people at the table, you're responsible for, one, managing that conversation and kind of connecting those two together. And so you have to understand their point of view, or you will not have an adequate conversation and or move the needle where you want it to go.
Seek first to understand. That's that 100% responsibility that you taught us about.
Yeah.
Seek first to understand, 100% responsibility. I'll be tagging that one on there, that 100% responsibility. That is really good. One thing I learned, we talked about, we have some similar streets we used to roam, Broad Street in Columbus, Ohio. So shout out to our Columbus, Ohio podcast friends out there. And those of you who've never been to Columbus, you better get there. You better get there and see the Polaris Mall, right? And that's still there.
Polaris, Easton, yes.
Easton Mall, yeah. So on those streets, the early Melissa Wood, the young Melissa Wood, before any gray hair set in, a wonderful leader there taught me this about that 100% responsibility. I didn't know that word, but he said, do you know the difference between tennis and catch, playing catch? So in tennis, so everybody listen to this, and this goes into what Shaun has taught us about 100% responsibility. And he said, this is where he said he struggles mightily, right? And this is where he's adding value. And we all struggle mightily. This is probably why Shaun's very good and able to teach us this, because he recognizes he struggles mightily. Some of you, listen up. This is self-help. You struggle mightily, but you just don't know it. You won't admit it. So there you have it. We're telling you today, you struggle mightily. But he said, if you're going to increase your emotional intelligence, if we're going to do the 100% responsibility, like Shaun said, he said, you have to play catch, not tennis. In tennis, the game is this. They hit the ball to you. What do? Hit
it back.
Hard as you can. You trying to ace them. You understand? You trying to smack it where they can't say, they ain't got nothing to say because you shut them down. Right? That's what I hear. And we've all done it. This is why this podcast is popular and real. This is keeping it real. We've all bragged about, man, I told him or I told her. She didn't have nothing to say. She didn't have anything to say, right? So that is slamming it back in tennis. In catch, we're supposed to catch the ball, hold on to it, and throw it back where they can catch it, right? The goal is not to throw it over their head where they have to run for it. We didn't like playing in the streets with kids that did that. We wanted them to throw it and hit the mitt, right?
Yes.
So that's the way I learned it, Shaun, that 100% responsibility between tennis and catch. Too many of us are playing tennis with our mouth.
Yes.
When we need to be playing catch.
A phenomenal analogy. Yeah, it is. It truly is.
So I guess
hope they wrote that down, Melissa. I need everybody to write that down. Play catch and not tennis. That's
with your mouth.
That's good. Yes.
With your mouth.
Yeah.
With your mouth. And that is, I think that's why it marries to what you said so much. That's 100% responsibility. When you decide if you're going to play tennis and shut them down, or you going to play catch, right? And throw and give something back, like, tell me more. What did you mean by that? Right? That is that part. All right, going back up to the preparation. Good leaders take notes. I know that's what I've been saying is good leaders take notes. You got to prepare it. I love that you said we prepare physically and we prepare mentally.
Yeah. So the steps that I take, number one, and I'm going to take it from a granular level because we're keeping it real today, Melissa. So number one, I make sure that I get enough sleep.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's so.
Okay.
If you go into something tired and or drained and or wore out, your brain is a phenomenal, muscle or whatever you want to call it. It is amazing. It does amazing things. But when it is in a stressed environment, because you've not nourished or given it its due diligence, you are going to make careless mistakes and or miss things that should have there. So that's number one. From there, you need to you're the subject matter expert on what you want to talk about, right? So you know that. And when we talk about 100% responsibility, because you're the subject matter expert, it is your responsibility to get everybody onto the same level of understanding that you're at, right? And again, there's different individuals in that meeting. So you have to know exactly what is in it for them, what's going to impact them, what's going to cause, trouble or strife. You need to be able to have solutions to all of those things before you go into that meeting. So when we talk about preparation, I need to understand, hey, this is going to be a firewall issue. This is going to impact operations. This is going to add busy time to this particular group. You have to understand what it is, but you need to know exactly why it's so crucial that you need this so that you can kind of prepare forward. And then from there, you need to walk that room. You need to be able to read temperament, posture, be cognizant. You have to be present. People will go into meetings and not be present in that meeting. Like I've seen it happen over and over, and you kind of zone out and you're trying to, and you don't notice it, right? And you can ask questions, you can ask filler questions, right? So be present in the moment. And then, finally, you want to be able to speak, enunciate. I go and I do this, seamlessly. I look at the dictionary all the time. When I was in college, one of my old professors used to clunk me upside the head. I worked in the library, and she would make me learn new words because I have a tendency to say the same things over again. She said, hey, you need to have an expanded vocabulary so that you can really, truly get your message across. That doesn't mean that you just go out and use big words, but you need to be able to understand how to be able to convey something in terms that may be crucial to that individual that's different than how you communicate, right? So you have to be a student of what you want to do, continuously learn, right? You need to be out, look, there's just so many free trainings that are out there, Melissa, that people just don't take advantage of. YouTube, you can learn how to build a house. I see people out in the forest building underground houses, and they're showing you how to do it, right? But you have to watch some of those things, be a student continuously. And, until you expire or retire, you should be looking to learn new things or new ways of doing things or new ways to be able to convey things, right? There's different modes and manners when you're in that room. If you're doing the same thing every single time, you use the same presentation template, you have the same talking points, I can tell you, you will not truly receive your greatness and or give greatness to someone else if you do not prepare, you do not continuously learn, and you do not be present in everything that you do.
Oh, I tell you, you got to come back because we can break this one down. You got to come back.
Absolutely, anytime.
Everybody took, I know they were taking notes. We got the world's best podcasters out there, but they're taking notes. But he just gave some gold chunks right there, some gold chunks. And, you know, when you talk about some people just don't prepare, right? And so let me explain. When you were talking, my light bulb came on. I thought about this. I was a director of a youth group for like 13 years. Okay. Oh. And they're teenage boys and girls. And so one evening we taught all the girls self-defense. We had, and their parents. So we had like a gentleman, he came in, he's got his own karate company, all sorts of stuff. And you know what he said? He said the number one people that get kidnapped, okay? And this is a scary subject, and you think about it. What he said, he taught us, he said, it's because you walk out of the store and you are not prepared. You are not paying attention. You just present. And he said, and you get snatched, and you get snatched every time. And he said, I spend most of my time, everybody thinks I'm gonna teach them how to do karate and beat somebody up and do all kinds of stuff. He said, that was so powerful to me, and that's what you're saying. He said, if you walk out of a store and you prepare your mind, that decreases your chances of getting kidnapped by almost 80%. Yes. And it does. It truly does. But our cell phones. Just watching your surroundings. Yeah, he said most of the time we're like digging in our purse, looking at something, and he said we're just distracted. We don't realize that there's a kidnapper being pulled right beside us. We're not paying attention to it, you know? He just said we're distracted. And if that is powerful, so 100% responsibility, the preparation, the sleep, you're right. You kept it real there. Hey.
Yes.
I don't know. There are a lot of free trainings, but there's not a lot of real trainings.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is for real. Like, get some sleep. Like, we know that we get hangry and we get hungry. We hadn't had sleep. You know, the SMEs, I love the way you put that out there. Walk the room, right? And then learn. John Maxwell, I know that you took some John Maxwell courses.
I have.
And I'm a John Maxwell facilitator. I'm a JMT team member. And he taught us, he said, raise the lid, right? And that's what your professor was doing for you, Shaun, in college. He said, if you don't grow, the people that you're leading can't grow. So you need to raise your lid. So I think that's phenomenal. And then lastly, as we kind of, if you're going back to take notes of what Shaun was talking about, this is powerful. I didn't even think about him putting it this way, and I'll use this forever. You may use, playing tennis and catch, Shaun, forever. But the physical toughness and the mental toughness, breaking that. I'm taking notes. I literally put a line in between my paper when I'm taking notes on physical toughness and mental toughness. You go to any mall, there's all kind of hot yoga, Pilates, there's all sorts of avenues for us to get physically fit, and which we should, right? Our physical, we're lifting weights, there's gyms, there's all sorts of stuff. But what good is that going to do you if you're not mentally tough?
Yep.
That gets us every time, that mental toughness. And I have watched some of the best athletes fail because they had the talent. So that's what Shaun's teaching us today. He's like, listen, you may have the intelligence, the IQ. You may have all the talent in the world to do what you can do. But we live in Texas right now, so we can talk about some rodeos. But if you get bucked off in your mind on the mental toughness, you're never going to ride 8 seconds.
It's over. You will shut yourself down. And, just to expound on that, people like there's brain teasers. You can obviously, do different critical thinking exercises, But the number one thing, Melissa, and people, if you can write this down, speak positive affirmations into your life every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. When you get up, you need to assume positive intent, speak those positive affirmations. I know I will. I know I am. I know I can. Every single day. And don't let anyone dim your light, right? I'm great. If I'm only great to myself, I'm great, right? And I cannot be great to anyone else if I think I'm anything short of that. So you have to put yourself in that mindset that I am going to succeed, I am going to exceed, and I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it every day. And that will take you so much further. Self-doubt is always going to be there, right? We're human, we're natural. We're always going to doubt ourselves, right? We see in the world of social media, you see other people you think are doing better than you. You see other leaders that are excelling, people are getting awards. You see all these things and you want to be in that circle. Look, I am, right? I will, I can. You have to have that mindset every single day. I am great. I'm going to be great. And guess what? I'm going to bring someone to greatness with me.
Okay, you said you wanted to add value, right? And I'm gonna show you that of all of our podcasters, if they have a voice, I'm gonna try to speak from us to you to thank you. I am going to work on my mental toughness and my physical toughness. I will be prepared when I walk into a room or a conversation. I can take 100% responsibility on whether I'm going to play tennis or catch with my mouth. How about that?
Yes.
Will that work? Okay.
Yes,
So
awesome.
Those are our affirmations. You taught us all these things and you just made it happen beautifully. I appreciate you, Shaun. If you guys want to connect with Shaun, you need him to come speak with you. We'll have all the information in his bio, everything in the link, and he'll come back. He'll sit at the table. You know those people when you're at home and you're like, that company, they're coming back. They are coming back. Yeah. So you can come back, and I appreciate you so much. And I just enjoyed connecting with you as a friend. And podcasters, until next time, and we'll see you next time on the Etech Table Talk.